Welcome everyone to the July review of Agile Hive Cloud. This is number 41. And as you can see, Michael isn't here. He's on a well-earned vacation and I am filling in for him. So we'll begin now. The next review will be in August 4th, at the usual time of 15:30. So you can find us here then again, and we will present our progress as always. This meeting can be found in as a calendar to add to yours, and you'll find the recording and notes of it on LinkedIn and on YouTube on the mentioned channels. And let's go ahead. If you need any help with your trial, as we know, usual trial duration might be not enough for many of our customers, please reach out to us through our help desk. As you can see here, we have a dedicated section for product trial questions, and the short link is right for that. Okay, we have our product updates for the month of June. We released 4 versions as well as 4 fixed versions to address some issues with fields we had. And we stuck to our schedule of releasing once a week. And so far, we don't see a need of adjusting that, but your feedback is very welcome on that topic. You can find the changelog on the link below, and we'll get into the changes we released now. So starting off, we released colored indicators for dependencies that display the most critical dependency for each issue, despite issues not being visible, which you can see on our roadmaps and planning boards. This can look like this. As you can see, we have an issue that has a healthy dependency to another one, and it is highlighted on the edge of the issue. But you can also see a red border indicator on the left side, which means that there's some issue depending on the upper left issue that is a critical dependency, but it is not on the board, which might mean it is in a future PI, but you are now aware of that critical dependency despite it not being displayed. This again works for our roadmaps and our planning boards. On Hover, you can see a tooltip which issues are dependent on or depend on the said issue with the indicator and their criticalities, so you can resolve your your critical dependencies way faster. Another thing we released is a feature request we got multiple times, which is the sorting of unplanned work in the sidebar of planning boards. You can find the filter dropdown as usual as before, but at the top of it, you can see we released sorting options for the default rank option, but also for WSJF, as well as keys, priorities, and story points. This is a first release, so if you have any feedback on options that should be added or are essential to your teams or arts, please let us know so we can adjust these filter options accordingly. We also released that the PI overview on the solution level now includes art issues that skip the solution level in terms of parenting. So if a artwork item is parented to a portfolio issue, as you can see here, it is still being displayed on the solution PI overview in the report, so you don't miss any of the planned work you have, despite it skipping the layer. All right, we also released multiple improvements. We keep addressing the performance and rate limit topics we are facing again and again, and are seeing constant improvement, and also would be happy to hear your feedback on that if you notice any improvements or if there are any issues remaining. But our work on this is ongoing, and we will see that we release additional fixes that address these problems. But we also released the option to map sprints of past PIs for projects that for example, have migrated PIs from the past, and those can now be assigned sprints that might also be migrated, so your reports are in order and your velocity might display correctly, so on and so forth. And this is now no longer restricted to current and future PIs. We also have the remaining topic of rate limits, which we are facing due to restrictions on the backend, and try to make those issues more visible, and hence have released this indicator that you might see from time to time, and have set up a documentation page regarding those problems. So you can find more information on the link below. We also are aware and constantly working on improvements for this issue, and we'll see that we address them further. Okay, this brings us to the roadmap and plan for the current PI for future releases. As you can see, we do still have work to do and are making progress on the Agile Hive parent field as a the Agile Hive parent as a custom field, which currently is stored as a property, but moving it to a field will ease the workflows for many customers, and we see that we address those further. The external dependencies have been released and improved. If you encounter any issues, please let us know. But for now, the work on them should be finished. So we are now also working on the reports for the portfolio level and have made progress by building the first widgets for it, and see that we will continue to build for it. But there is an additional section after this roadmap that will address this. There's also ongoing work on the concept for the solution planning board, which is the counterpart to the art planning board, just on a solution level, and will help you visualize the timeline of your work on the solution level. The custom field mapping is seeing some improvements, and we are continuing to work on that. But for now, we cannot give any specific dates on when this will be released. As you might also know, we are constantly working on the migration path from Agile Hive DC to cloud, and we have our first customers that are migrating, but we also are working on PI imports and conflict resolution in that regard, so that your DC PIs can be migrated to cloud. As I said, the portfolio level reports are being worked on, and we're building our first widgets. Right now, we already have the Epic overview, which is the counterpart to the PI overview on the lower levels, as well as the milestones and dependencies widgets. But we would also love to hear from you. What are your needs for portfolio reports? What is something that is essential to you on the portfolio level to see, so we can address our customers' needs directly while we're building our first version of the portfolio reports. The link below, it might be hard to type, a bit hard to type, but it directs to our help desk and opening a new feature request. Please feel free to add your suggestions and requests for widgets on the portfolio level, so we can improve further. Our next review will be the 4th of August. And you can find our reviews on YouTube, as well as Agile Hive can be found on LinkedIn. You can also address any requests you have through our help desk. And with that, I would end this review. Thank you very much, and see you next month.